There is never going to be an insurgency in the captured territories of Ukraine. Never. No matter how much money and weapons are poured into the regions that the Russians are going to occupy of Ukraine, there will never be an insurgency. And the reasons ought to be obvious. So let me just backtrack a little bit. Okay, first things first is that you got to understand that all of the territory that Russia is capturing in Ukraine right now, they're going to hold it forever. They are never going to give it up. It's going to become a part of Russia. I originally thought that there might be some intermediate step that they, declare like autonomous republics, like the republics that they recognized in Donetsk and Lugansk, that they said that, they're autonomous republics and, like autonomous countries. But I think that after this whole, the expense of it, the manpower lost and all the rest of it, they're just going to say screw it and just integrate all of these territories. All of eastern Ukraine, all of southern Ukraine, it's going to be declared Russian territory, no different from Crimea. The very fact that the Russians have lost so many men and spent so much money on this whole special military operation is reason enough that they're going to just declare it outright theirs, and that's that, and that's the end of the story. Now, Washington is thinking to itself, hang on, I think it's just a little bit more. Washington is thinking to itself that they're going to be able to create an insurgency in these, captured territories, in these conquered territories. It's going to make life miserable for the Russians, just like the Afghan insurgency and the Iraqi insurgency made life miserable for the Americans. That's what they're going to be thinking, right? And they're going to be thinking to themselves that they can just pour money into Ukraine, and that money will instantly transform itself into a nightmare scenario for Russia. They're totally wrong. They're completely wrong. They think that if they pour money into Mariupol, if they pour money into Odessa will be captured. If they pour money everywhere, that insurgencies will rise up and it'll be, Iraq for the Russians. But it won't, for a very simple reason. And it ought to be obvious. See, when the Russians showed up in Mariupol, right? What language were the people speaking? Were they speaking, Pashto or Arab or, English? No, they were speaking Russian. And when the a tank rolled up to the city center and the tank commander hopped off, right? And he went up to the babushka there, right? What did the babushka see? She saw a young man who could be her grandchild. Looked just like her grandson. You see the problem? See, from the point of view of all of these... Oh, is there more? No, it's fine. From the point of view of all of these people in these so-called conquered territories of Ukraine, see, the conquerors are basically their guys. Okay? And you see, over the last 8 years, the Russian speakers, the ethnic Russians who are living in the south and the east of Ukraine, they viewed the Ukrainians as conquerors, as invaders. And so what's going to happen is very natural, see? Once the war is over, because it will end, because all wars end, and once the Russians have sort of like consolidated their hold on the east and the south of present-day Ukraine, and turned it into the region of Novorossiya that is part of Russia, as good as any part of Russia, right? Well, what's going to happen is that the second any insurgent shows up, some Ukrainian agent, sneaks into this area and tries to set up a resistance, well, he's going to get turned in by the locals. Of course. See, when there was insurgency in Iraq, insurgency in Afghanistan, right? Who's occupying the area?
The Americans. Do they look foreign? Yes, they do. Do they speak a foreign language? Yes, they do. Okay? And so if insurgents show up at some little village in Afghanistan or whatever to organize, to stir up trouble for the Americans, are the local population, are they going to do anything about it? No, they're going to help them. Of course, they're going to help them with spotters. They're going to help them. They're going to get the little kids to run around and then come back and tell them exactly where the Americans are so that the insurgents can go and attack them and get away. That's what's going to happen, right? Well, what's going to happen in Mariupol? Mariupol, that for 8 years was under the yoke of the Azov Battalion Nazis, who strong-armed local businesses, raped young women that they found attractive, and just stole from people, stole their cars, and sometimes just stole their apartments. I mean, they were a nasty bunch. They were gangsters, man. That's what they were, Nazi gangsters. Huh? And so the Russians showed up and liberated the local population from these Azov goons. So what? After that, they're going to betray their Russian liberators because that's how the local people see them, as Russian liberators. And so any insurgency that the morons in Washington might be dreaming up, it's going to die on the vine. Any insurgent who shows up in Lugansk, Donetsk, Zaporozhye, Kherson regions, right, and soon enough Odessa regions, they're going to get given up instantly. The little old babushka, she's going to go herself to the nice young man with the big Russian tank and tell that nice Russian man, there's these evil Azov Ukrainian crazy people who are operating in my neighborhood. Help me. And that'll be that for any kind of insurgency. See, in the West, they don't want to recognize the reality of the situation. The Ukrainian nationalists, who originated in West Ukraine, well, they antagonized the east and south of Ukraine so much and so badly over the last 8 years, abused them so much, that there is simply no way that those people will ever be able to start up an insurgency, because all those people in the south and east of Ukraine, they feel that they've been occupied for the last 8 years, and they are finally being liberated. Now, this might not fit in very neatly with the bullshit that is being spewed in Washington, but this is the truth on the ground. There isn't going to be any insurgency. The east and south of Ukraine is going to slide into Russia, and everybody is going to live happily ever after. And a lot of people might not like that truth, but it is the truth.